Welcome back. I'm so happy you're here. This is Courtney, your host, and today we're going to be talking about kind of building off of last week, but I'm going to challenge you in this episode to rely on the unseen forces. Stay with me. So, by now, you likely see that this is an energetic spiritual side of things that I teach over here by using the natural laws of the universe. That what you create externally must first be addressed internally. So I want to pair off from last week's podcast. And I want to talk about the recent book deal that I just signed. I've never desired to be an author, wasn't on my desires list, didn't appeal to me. I have, however, set the big intention and goal of what I'd like to achieve in life. And that's exactly what we talked about last week. Discovering where it is you want to go, how much it is, down to the penny that you want to earn. You have to know and set that intention of the bigger picture before what we're going to talk about today, the law of order, before the law of order can work and line things up and bridge the gap to get you there. So as I said, I've never desired to be an author, wasn't on my desire list, didn't appeal to me. So for you to understand the law of action a little bit more, and that's what we spoke about last week, you must look at the bigger picture you're creating. So when I was approached about the book, I could have looked at it as, no, it's not on my goal list. It's not something I've ever desired. So I'm not going to do it. But because I'm aware of the natural laws of the universe, and I'm highly aware of the law of order, of course, I had to connect the dots and say, this is part of the path for me. This is part of the plan. This is part of the co-creation with Source. Now, Source for you can be the universe. It could be God. But for me personally, I've come to realize that there is something bigger than us that we are co-creating with. And I'm going to tell you that when you start to open up to that idea, whether it's God, whether it's the universe, whether it's your higher self, that something is co-creating with you, it makes life that much more fun and enjoyable and at ease, knowing that everything that you're doing is working for your higher power. So the universal law of order states that everything is unfolding as it should, both good and bad. So when an opportunity presents itself, even if you hadn't desired it or had it on your goal list, if it feels good in your gut and your intention says yes, then this is where the law of action comes in. You must act on it. It is most likely the stepping stone to get you to your ultimate goal that you have set your attention around. I'm going to tell you, nothing is happening by luck, coincidence, or by chance. It's all presented to you for a reason, but it's up to you to see the stepping stones being thrown your way. This is why sometimes things pop up in your life that you didn't necessarily ask for, both good and bad, because it's bridging the gap of where you're going. It's going to grow you and evolve you towards being ready for the big intention and goal that you set for your life. So keep in mind that what you focus on expands, right? We talked about that in the last episode. So if you're focusing on more debt, as you co-create, you're going to bridge the gap and more opportunities are going to come into your life to bridge the gap towards more debt. But if you are still working on the challenge and the assignment that I gave you last week on holding the intention and building out that life goal and holding the grand picture of what it is that you want out of life, how much money you want to earn, and what it is you want to create, whether it's a dream job, whether it's going back to school, whether it's starting a business, or maybe you don't even know the nitty-gritty details. You just know that you want to earn this amount of money a year. So if you're holding that intention and you're focusing on it each day and it's crossing your mind each day, things are going to happen. We talked about it last week, how you are going to get nudges. Certain things are going to come into your life. And these, if you look at it this way and you understand the law of order, whether you asked for it or not, they are stepping stones to bridge the gap to where you want to go, that big ultimate goal that you created last week. Okay, so I want you to think about this when things start to come in your life unexpectedly. Now, both good and bad. I'm going to take you back to 2016. I talked about this already. Why, when I set my intention in 2016, I knew without a shadow of a doubt I wanted an online business and I wanted to earn 6 figures a year. At the time, I did not have an online business, and I actually didn't even have a secure day job. I was kind of just filling in here and there, but I knew where I wanted to go. I was massively in debt. I was living paycheck to paycheck. But I built out that picture just like I challenged you last week. So why did it take 4 years for that to finally arrive? And this is an important thing because a lot of people set the intention, and when it doesn't show up right away, they give up or they discredit themselves and they say, well, maybe I'm not worth it, or I'm not good enough, or, I don't believe in this, or all those ego responses that our brain likes to tell us come in, the doubt, right? Our self, remember last week we talked about it. Our self-trust is what allows us to have no doubt, right? So why do you think it took 4 years for that to be my physical reality? And why maybe is it taking it so long for it to arrive in your life? One, what you focus on expands, right? So if you're not focusing on that and you're focusing on the lack, the scarcity, and the debt, obviously that's what's going to transpire, right? But if you're like me, say back old me in 2016, and you are constantly focusing on that online business and 6-figure a year salary, why did it take so long to arrive? And I'm here to tell you, certain things, aka the law of order, had to happen in between those 4 years in order for me to be ready and receiving on the other end. I wasn't ready. I still had a ton of self-sabotaging, self-image issues. And if you listen to my welcome video, and maybe this resonates with you, I had poor spending habits because I didn't feel worthy, and I would spend mindlessly to make up for the lack. So if I would have co-created with Source and it would have given it to me in 2016, it wouldn't have lasted. The money would have been gone. I was not ready. Instead, I had poor things happen to me. I had good things happen to me. All things that I didn't have in my big grand plan that were lining up for me. They were bridging the gap. They were stepping stones towards that grander vision. So I want you to take this seriously, that, you're not just going to magically think of this vision. It's going to pop up. You're going to have things that come up, not by chance. You have to look at them as stepping stones. Okay, so for example, I was completely self-conscious. I had breast implants at the time, still self-conscious. I got really, really sick. You may have heard of it, breast implant illness. I got really, really sick. I'm talking sleeping 13 hours a night. I was almost going, my hormones were out of whack. I was going to need to be on thyroid medication. My C-reactive protein was high, which means inflammation in the body. My white blood cell count was constantly dropping. I was sick. My intuition told me after miraculously, some lady popped up in my feed who also had breast implants, because prior to this, I didn't even consider my breast implants to be the culprit because I thought I did my research. But the law of order happened. I came across a lady who popped up in my newsfeed who had just got hers out, who was suffering all the same symptoms. Aha, I clued in. My eyes were open. Long story short, I went and I got them out. My health has been incredible since. I felt amazing since. But the biggest transformation, I finally started accepting myself, full of scars all over my chest. I became more confident than I'd ever been in my currently 32 years of life. I needed that to happen to discover my self-worth, to then bridge the gap, which stopped my mindless spending because I was no longer filling a void or a lack, to line me up to become the person to then carry out a 6-figure online business. Do you guys see what I'm getting at here? It's not just going to be good things that come up for me. For example, like the book signing this week. Yes, that's exciting. No, I didn't ask for it, but I know it's bridging the gap to where I'm going. But bad things are going to come up. People may come in and out of your life for a reason. Okay? So I need you to understand, as I work through this process with you guys, that the law of order is a natural law of the universe, and that everything that is playing out in your life right now is happening for a reason. Now, if you keep having things that are reoccurring and constantly showing up, it's because you haven't addressed them yet. So say you have a negative situation that keeps coming back time and time again. It's like, again, really? I have to deal with this again? One, either you're focusing on it or you're focusing on some sort of lower vibration emotion that we talked about last week: shame, guilt, fear. So either you're focusing on a negative, lacking, scarcity situation, or you haven't taken action on that thing that's presenting itself in your life, which is trying to bridge the gap in the form of law and order. Things will keep presenting themselves to you until you experience it, grow, and evolve from it, and move on from it. Do you get what I'm saying? So I thought it was very valuable to come on and talk about this topic after the law of action. And since last week in my private community, we talked about this very book signing deal and how it wasn't in my path. So why did it happen? So I wanted to address why things happen sometimes in your life. And you're more than welcome to join that private community. Just check out the show notes, the links there, request to join. I would love to have you. So that is all I wanted to share today. This is a little bit of a shorter episode, but such a valuable information. I don't really have any action steps for you today other than to analyze things that are coming in and out of your life, and to have that self-trust that everything is happening for your higher good, right? Whether what that goal you want to manifest or bring into your life isn't happening right away, I want you to remember it took me 4 years, right? I had a lot of lessons to learn in the meantime. And that's exactly what's happening to you. There's lessons that you need to learn in the meantime that are going to grow and evolve you. But you have to be open to them, right? Because if you're not open to experiencing them and learning them, they're just going to keep presenting themselves over and over and over again in your life. Okay, so I hope this episode helps. Thanks for tuning in, and I can't wait to see you next week. Bye, guys.